All right. Well, I don't have anything. Actually, this is meant to be super casual and informal. So, and if nothing else, I'll go through like a few updates. But I just wanted to see if you guys had anything before I get into some update type stuff. What kind of questions you guys got, or what's new? How's health?
Health is good. The only thing I'm struggling with is sleep,
Oh,
right?
do you know what it is?
Well, I can get to sleep and I sleep for a good solid 5 to 6 hours,
Yeah.
and then I wake up and I just can't go back to sleep. I have, I have the melatonin, but I had a earlier in the year, I had a incident where I was choking for like a good solid minute. I couldn't breathe. And so I've been having issues swallowing pills. So I have my melatonin, but I can't swallow it. And then I cut
Oh,
it up. And then I know it's psychological now. And I can't, I can't swallow these pills.
yeah. I was gonna say maybe try crushing it up, but I don't know what it tastes like. But do you have dialed in the things that facilitate good quality sleep? And you know what those are, right?
Yes. I have a cup of tea at night. I don't do the electronics.
Hmm.
I've been working out more. So
That's
that's
great.
actually worked to my advantage.
Hmm.
Um, what
Can I
else?
make a suggestion?
Go
Sure.
ahead. What's
I've
the
been reading Next Level by Dr. Stacy something or other.
Yes,
And
Sims. I'm getting her.
she,
She's coming on an interview, but
she,
go ahead.
yeah, she said to drink tart, cold cherry juice before you go to bed. And it's
Hmm,
got melatonin in it, natural melatonin. And I've been trying it and it works great.
awesome.
What is it again?
Tart,
Uh-huh.
drink cold. It has to be cold. Tart cherry juice. Drink a cup before you go to bed.
Oh, okay.
Pro tip from
And I
Kathy.
found it smart and final.
Ooh, okay. All right,
All right,
I'll
cherry
try at
juice.
this
I
point.
support it. I'll make a note of it too. So, so on the quality, so it sounds like your evening thing is dialed in, and then maybe this tart cherry juice. But what do you remember? What we have to do during the day to facilitate good quality sleep too?
Vitamin D,
Meaning what?
going outside and getting sun.
Yeah, how's that? Are you able to do that?
Well, I did it today. I mean, I do go out a little bit, but I don't go out like a good solid 20 minutes because of
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, yeah. Life situations make it challenging. So I'm going to share a snippet from Andrew Huberman's podcast on like a morning routine. And the most important thing that you can do is get the early morning light into your eyes as soon as possible and as much as you can. And I'm talking about as soon as you wake up, step outside, or as soon as you are able to, like you get outside and you just without glasses or anything, you just let light get into your eyes. And it doesn't mean you stare into the sun. I usually kind of stare, I don't know, off into a distance. I'm usually meditating. So, but that brightness, that early morning brightness, the earlier you can get it, it anchors your morning cortisol spike, and then that sets the tone for everything throughout the day. And that early morning light also is when your body makes melatonin in response to the early morning light, but then it saves it for evening release. And it all starts with that really early morning light. And then, yes, during the day, it's useful if you can get out and get some brightness periodically, just little snippets of it here and there. But that early morning light, I'm telling you right now, game changer for me, game changer for my clients. What do you think?
Yes, sometimes that's why these conversations are important to remind, right? Because
It's hard to remember all of it. It really is. It's hard to
Mhm.
remember all of it. This is my life. So, of course, I remember it. But I just did a sleep talk with the fire department. It's those three things that's mimicking the day during the day, which I would say the most important part of that is just as early as you can get natural light into your eyes, the better, because it's anchoring the rest of the day, right? It's telling your body when to secrete cortisol. It helps you make melatonin. Even though we've said in the past, like getting 30 minutes or cumulative brightness throughout the day, I think that morning light is the most important thing because it just sets the tone, right?
Mhm.
And then you got the evening dialed in. You want to mimic the night during the night, and in the evening, like you're dimming all your stuff and turning off all your stuff, and then trying the melatonin, trying the tart cherry juice, and then being
Okay.
consistent with your sleep schedule. But I think just that by itself, I've got clients like all they did was get out, get early morning light. I got a guy right now. He's an amputee. I'm teaching him how to get into his walker. And of course, I'll ask him here and now. I'll try to throw in some nutrition stuff. I'm like, how's your sleep? And he's like, the sleep is horrible. Same thing. You can go to bed, but he wakes up a few hours later. And I said, well, what do you think about this? And so he wheels himself over to the front door, opens it up. He has a screen door right there. And he said, first time he did it, like it was just a game changer. So super simple, can have probably profound impacts.
Yes, thank you. I will try that this week.
And
Starting tomorrow.
When you wake up, do you feel like you have a really active mind? When you wake up, do you feel like it's because you're thinking about a lot of stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what we've talked about, my job is it's constantly, right? Like think. And
yeah. I mean, you guys have such responsibility, and in my opinion, probably the most underpaid profession there is, but because you do so much outside of the classroom, right? Have you ever found anything to work with that, with the mind activity?
Like what has worked for me, I started working out like in hot yoga, and that has really helped me. Like I started in December. There's True Fusions right down the street from my house.
Oh, cool.
And literally like 3 minutes from my house. So I try to get there 3 or 4 times a week, but that heat and that exercise, the heat piece really has been amazing for me. And
then what time of day do you do that?
On the weekends, I do it in the morning, but I can't work out in the morning because they don't open till 6, and by 6 o'clock I have to leave my house.
Yeah.
So I have to fit it in after work.
I think that's great. I mean, either getting it in is probably the most important thing, and the fact you enjoy it's great. And then in the evening, being hot might actually work to your favor. There's this whole popular trend around cold plunges and saunas. And if you were to time those right in the day, the cold plunge would be best in the morning, and then the sauna would be best in the evening, because your body tries to compensate by cooling off. But I think just getting that in is really, really great. For the active mind, do you mind if I just share something that worked with a recent client? Insomnia is a thinker's problem. And we all go through these scenarios. I mean, in my life, past month or so, I've definitely had a very, very active mind. Sometimes either having an evening process where you do like a brain dump and you just write everything down on paper and say, this is my to-do list, and just getting it down and just understanding, hey, I know what my priorities are for the next day. Somehow there's a weight lifted off the non-conscious, when you just get that stuff down on paper, and there doesn't feel like so much of a need to think about it. What's worked I got this client up in New York City. He's like a financial guy, and he's just like freaking constant, right? He's just learning to meditate, but what he's found to work is when he wakes up in the middle of the night, he does that kind of journal routine where he gets his to-dos for the next day. He's like, man, that's such a weight lifted. Okay, cool. And then if he wakes up in the middle of the night, then he just does like a body scan. So it's like counting sheep, but he sits there, feels his body, follows his breath, counts his breath, like he does different variations of it. And eventually he just kind of falls back to sleep.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Can I ask a question? Was Christina, I missed the first part because I just got the link. I was trying to get on. Is Christina, is she struggling with getting proper sleep or getting enough sleep? Is that the challenge?
Staying asleep. So she can get to sleep, and then she wakes up a few hours later, and then in the middle of the night, kind of has this active mind. So we started with talking about like what facilitates good quality sleep, and then some little hacks. So do you have anything to add there?
I do, actually. And Christina, obviously Paul's the master of this. I am not the master. So you can just completely garbage what I have to say here and just follow his lead, especially since I didn't get to hear the first part. But I deal with a number of people that have challenges with either going to sleep or staying asleep or waking up, and then they're up for like 3 hours. And they don't get out of bed, but they can't go back to sleep. So a couple things that, and Paul started to tickle on it a little bit, the things that we found amazingly successful, it's actually a double back, it's a meditation called Meditation Moments by Dudley Evenson. And it's the nature of that guided meditation. It's they are the perfect words. It's the perfect sound. It's the perfect voice. And the goal is you have to tell yourself, you have to listen to what they're saying. And when you catch yourself drifting, which you will, especially at first, because that's what your mind's doing, you snap yourself. So no, focus on what they're saying. You can't do both. You can't focus on what they're saying and focus on what's going on in your mind too. It's impossible. You cannot do both. So you retrain yourself to listen to what they're saying. And of these 51 meditation moments, we're typically out in 3 of them. Like you're not going to get to 45. You can still subliminally hear it, but you're actually back to sleep. So if you wake up in the middle of the night and you turn that back on again, it's usually within a few minutes you're back to sleep. Now, here's the secret
Oh.
you may have a hard time with, but we love it. Noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
So the noise canceling headphones with the Dudley Evenson shuts all that other stuff out. Now, you might think, well, I can't sleep with headphones. All you have to do is tuck the pillow just so it creates just a little tiny bit of a space so your head's not smashed down on the headphones. And with the noise canceling with Dudley Evenson, out like a light every time. I've used it for the last 15 years. If I hadn't discovered this, going through a very heavy divorce, 6-year divorce process, I would have never got an ounce of sleep because I was worried about it all the time. Even going through a heavy divorce process after a 25-year marriage, I was able to sleep like that.
That's great.
And when I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about that stuff, turn it on, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, out again.
Now, can you listen to it without headphones? Can you just have like a little speaker?
You can, absolutely. You can. The only reason why I mentioned the noise canceling, because it really centers down and it's a different kind of listening. But yeah, you can listen to it just from your phone or from your iPad or whatever you want. Yeah, absolutely. I'm telling you, it's the most phenomenal. Some people can't do quiet meditation because their brain won't quiet down.
Yeah.
Pro tip from Jess on sleep hacks. I love it. That's great.
Christina, you owe me nothing. I just joined the club. You owe me nothing for that.
Thank you.
Now he just planted a subconscious embedded.
Well, thank you, because
like,
I am at the dealership and I'm spending a bunch of money getting my car done. So I don't got anything for you. Thank you.
I love it. Thanks, man. I've had just one thing after another with my freaking Jeep. It's been crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. All right. What else? We got any other feedback, wins, challenges that we can mastermind here?
Well, Paul, I've been very fortunate. Lisa and I, since we reconnected with you on this again, I chose to focus on your science of all of this. I'm calling it science because I think it is a science. Lisa and I both have chose to focus on the science of this, and I got to be honest with you, I love it. I can't believe that we had fallen off of it, and I also like your not just intermittent fasting. I also like the idea of tricking the system and flipping it around a bit, not just staying stuck on the same routine. So we've added that to the game, and so we've been back with you for like 3 weeks, and there was countless times where Lisa and I saw no growth at all. And I was choosing to only jump on the scale once a month just to identify where we're at. I didn't want to be every day or every other day or once a week. I don't want to focus on the scale. I want to focus on the program. But when I knew I was going to join this session with you guys, I jumped on the scale only because I was going to be on here, just in case you need some sort of another measure. And inside of 3 weeks, I've dropped 8 pounds. And I haven't dropped a single pound doing anything else for a very long time. So, yeah, and plus, I actually enjoy I like the fact that I'm only eating twice a day, no snacking, no nooking, and I'm eating more at those times than I've ever eaten. It's really hard to try to get in those proteins you got. It's freaking brutal, and I couldn't do it without the protein shake. I couldn't do it. It'd be impossible.
Yeah.
I made a double burger yesterday, 2 days ago, like a real, like real meat, and I cooked it myself. If you go to In-N-Out Burger, it's not really a double burger because they're so thin.
They're so small. Yeah.
But when I made my double burger, I'm going, Jesus Christ, that Paul T, what the hell is he thinking? I couldn't. It was to take that last bite. I thought I was going to freaking pass out.
That might be taking it a little too far, but you got the right idea.
But you told me I had to have I'm up to, like, I have to have my body weight in protein, and you got me up to, like, 60 grams, right?
Per meal.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But you said it feels good, right? You feel good throughout the day.
It's amazing. And you know what? You know the biggest part that I like about all of this so far, not just the weight loss, the biggest part I like? I no longer think about food.
I'm telling you, it is.
I was thinking about food all the freaking time.
Yeah,
Snacky, chippy, nutty, chippy. I was thinking about it all the time. I don't even think about it in between meals now.
No, I remember when we had our little visit, and we connected with what it is that you wanted. And you said that you wanted something that was simplistic, that gave you the results. You know, you didn't think about this all the time. And that's the magic of the power of being protein centric. And it's not just protein, because you're getting all the nutrients that come with the meat and all that stuff. But the magic of being protein centric is you're not only stimulating muscle growth, you're regulating your appetite. Like, you have no appetite for anything else because you can't eat anything else. For the most part, you know. But I mean, you feel good from it, you know. Like this is just one of my passions now, just emphasizing the power of animal foods and prioritizing that. And yeah, we have balance and other things that we throw in the mix, but that makes me really happy to hear. Lisa texted me the other day and she said, yeah, we're rocking it.
It's true. And again, the last time we were on the program with you, we were very phenomenal. And then we jumped off, and when we got back on, it didn't work. Well, what we didn't know is the body learns that stuff, so it doesn't react the same way. So to your point, you got to trick it up. You can't just, jump on a program and then that's it for life. You got to keep shifting up the body, shifting up the time, maybe from a morning meal and then an evening meal, or lunch meal, then a evening meal, whatever it is. You got to twist up the body, and then that off day, take the off day, so the body goes, oh, now what do you do? You know what I mean?
Yep. I like it. It's good to hear it too. How's Lisa doing with it? She said she was doing good.
She's doing real well too. She'll be home today. She's in Nashville, just finishing up a business conference thing there, but she's doing really well. I don't know how she's done since she's been in Nashville. I think she's been on it as best she could. That's always more difficult when you're traveling.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if you guys ever want to get on, the what to do is simple, but then the travel, family life situation, that's where it gets challenging. So if you guys ever want to get on and brainstorm, how to navigate that, like, I'm always available for it.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. But we appreciate you, and this time around is just as good as the last time around on it. And I really believe this is something that we need to be connected with for life, not just to meet.
100%.
I'm not just trying to get into my prom dress this time. Okay.
100%. That's the right mentality.
Yeah,
right?
This has to be for life.
And it's not bad to want to get into a prom. I get dressed up as a woman once a year, every year. So it helps. More things are revealed in that situation than most of what I wear. So
yeah, but after the prom, what happened? Boom, 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 boom. Then you're 15 pounds heavier than you were before you got into the prom dress.
Yeah. Well, this time, just keep them. If you guys end up drifting, then just say something. Use your meditation skills that you're cultivating with your little guided deal there, and notice that, and then come back to me and let's figure it out. But what's great about what we do is in this community is we're always sharing the latest and greatest and updates and experiments, and I'm sure 6 months from now we'll have a completely different focus, and we got some great guests coming on. So no, it's good to hear though. Love to hear that, Jess.
Yep. We appreciate your help. Thanks so much.
Cool. Well, I'm just going to cover a few things. I meant for this to be super casual, and it worked out great. I love the couple of little learning points that we've had here together. I think maybe it'll be beneficial to throw one of these out there a month where we can just jump on and just chat and see each other. And I miss you guys tremendously. And even if I just see you through Zoom, it's a really great thing for me. If I could make or emphasize encouraging to go through the wink part of the community. Okay. And I would say start at the most recent post and work your way through. I posted a video yesterday on reject the reset. I'm so passionate about knowing and understanding and being awake and aware to what's happening in the world, because I care about you guys. There's no other agenda behind it. I just want you to be in the know so that you can be prepared. That's it. I am such a big believer in Bitcoin. I believe in Bitcoin as much as I believe in meat. And that should give you an indication of how certain I am about it. And it's taken me a really long time to get there. And again, there's no other agenda there except I want you guys to have, you see where the world is going, or the potential where it could go. Like, where are you going to put your value? You got to put it somewhere. You got to put at least part of your value somewhere. I would just highly encourage you to educate yourself. The Bitcoin Standard, I think, is probably the best book that I've seen that explains the history of the financial system and then goes into a little bit about Bitcoin. It's super, super educational. One thing that I'm going to do to encourage participation in the community is I'm going to start giving away Satoshis, and Satoshis are the smallest derivative of a Bitcoin. I think it's 0.0000000, like to the 8th power or something like that, of a Bitcoin. And right now, that's less than cents, but those things will add up and grow. So what I'm going to start doing is awarding Satoshis for participation in the community, because I believe so much in this. And you're only getting, like, you're not giving anything except you're giving yourself. because your contribution matters. And as we move forward with this, like I just really appreciate more engagement in the group and even a little bit of creativity. So those Satoshis will be awarded. The more creative, like your participation, the more you'll get awarded, right? So likes and comments are going to be worth something, and then posts and the better quality of the post, the more Satoshis will be awarded for it. Now, this is going to imply that you understand how to receive Satoshis and also how to self-custody your own Bitcoin. So in 2 weeks, I'm going to do like a really, and I'm not an expert, but like many things, like I've kind of become an experiential kind of self-proclaimed personal expert. I know enough to teach this to other people because I've done this with clients. In 2 weeks, I'm going to do like a little Bitcoin 101, how to purchase, how to receive, how to send, and how to self-custody. And if you don't even know what the heck I'm talking about there, then that's what we'll talk about, is like what those terms actually mean. And then from that point forward, we're going to start with this awarding Satoshis for engagement. And I would just really, really appreciate your all's participation in that. I think it's going to be great because these Satoshis over time are probably going to be worth way more than they are right now. But even if they're not, it's still worth something. Back to that reject the reset. So there is a video. It's also in podcast format that I shared where Dr. McCullough interviews Alex Jones. And I thought it was just a freaking phenomenal interview. And like I said in my great reject the reset, I followed Alex Jones for a really long time. I don't feel so paranoid about promoting him and what he's saying here since McCullough had him on. It's kind of scary, but it's just leverage to do the things that we've talked about doing in the first place and slowly chipping away at those things. You guys remember Bosnia back in the 1990s? I don't know how much you know about it. I barely remember it because I was in high school or graduating high school. But I do remember it was pretty horrific, some of the stories that we heard. So I did some reading up on it. And you know what led to that situation in Bosnia? It was the decline of the currency. So this is a quote from Britannica Encyclopedia or something like that. In the 1980s, the rapid decline of the Yugoslav economy led to widespread public dissatisfaction with the political system. And that attitude, together with the manipulation of nationalist feelings by politicians, destabilized Yugoslav politics. It was initiated by the devaluing of the currency. And we've seen this happen over and over and over throughout history. And if you look at what's happening right now, we're kicking the can down the road. I don't know how this is going to play out. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I'm not a pessimistic doom and gloom kind of guy, but I would much rather be in a position to where I at least knew that this was a possibility and I was preparing for this versus not. A buddy of mine, one of my best friends, he's one of my nutrition cohorts. We have this little circle of practitioners that we share, info and stuff. He was telling me this story about, before the Nazis in Germany started out as a political party. And there was a point at which you could start to see that, okay, this is not going in a good direction. But then you had a big part of the population there, and specifically Jews, that were either denying or just like kind of said the things that we all say. There's, it's never going to get that bad. I could never. But there was certain select people that were like seeing the writing on the wall. There was this one woman in the family that said, like, she was begging everybody, like, we need to go to another country. Like, I don't think this is going to end good for us. And she ended up getting out just before they shut down the borders, and the rest of her family stayed and freaking went to concentration camps and died. And this lady survived, So I'm not saying it's going to turn into that kind of a situation, but what I'm saying is if we can see the potential of where things are going, it's nothing but beneficial to us to prepare for worst case scenario. And a buddy of mine shared this with me, okay? So it was an article written by a guy that lived through that situation and detailed like the beginning of it and what it was like surviving when the shit hit the fan and everything freaking devolved. Okay. And it was brutal. It's scary. It's crazy. And I'm just going to highlight some things I took in some notes here. I would consider the priorities in preparation. And again, it feels good doing this stuff, right? This is not like a doom and gloom mindset. It's being prepared. Okay. We've talked about this before, and I will reiterate and share posts in the group, but we have a preparedness 1 and 2. The first preparedness is all about 14 days of sheltering in place and having supplies to shelter in your home for 14 days. The second talk was all about preparing a bug out bag and different types of bags. So anyway, this guy emphasized, like, make sure that you have a certain amount of supplies that you can sustain yourself. If things get crazy initially, you'd want to hunker down in your home, and then eventually you'd want to move out of your home and go somewhere a little bit more remote, right? Because worst case scenario, you start to have in these urban situations, gangs and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So his priority here was sheltering in place, weapons and ammo. I would say savings, but where are you going to save? So when the currency devolved in Bosnia, like their money wasn't worth anything. But if back then they would have had Bitcoin, or they would have had the ability to store it in silver and gold, but you can't carry silver and gold around because it's so freaking heavy. So that's why Bitcoin's like the ultimate solution. Imagine if they had that. If whoever survived came out of that, they would have had currency sitting there waiting for them. And then you'd want to increase your food and water supply to maybe 3 to 6 months worth. And then this guy was saying that like the things that were most valuable in those situations were things that you could barter with and trade, things like candles and lighters and antibiotics, fuel, batteries, ammo, definitely food, basic hygiene type stuff, like cleanliness type stuff. And then skills were super important, like knowing how to do things, knowing how to fix things, knowing how to perform first aid and stuff like that. Like those were valuable, tradable skills. He also emphasized how no one that stayed by themselves made it. Like you had to have a community of people. And this is all stuff that we talk about all the time, right? So I'm going to share this article with you. I don't know, it's eye-opening, it's kind of scary, but it's also, I think it's very pertinent for the potential, what we're going through here. And again, it's better to be prepared than not be prepared. I'm pleading with you because I care about you, right? There's no other agenda except I would just want you to have this info. What are our personal priorities on a daily basis? Your personal health, animal-based nutrition, ancestral practices, getting outside, getting sun, having some fitness in place, getting to bed on time, all the things that we know, right? And then also simplified living, like really trying to figure out like how can I simplify my life, my possessions, my bills, my processes, having a savings plan in place. And I'd say that preparedness is a part of that. Okay. And then I want to finish with, I don't know if you guys know, I'm trying not to choke up here. So Arnica and I broke up, right? And it's initiated this fire in me to share this information. And my home was with her. And when I was going through this process, I was like, I don't know where I want to go. Like I left Vegas. I felt like I served my time here. I had no interest in staying up in Utah. That was a completely foreign place. Like my home was with her and where we were going, right? So I was only there to support her and to be closer to her family. So then I was like, okay, I don't want to go to Vegas. There's nowhere in the nation that I really want to go. And I don't want to go through the whole freaking racket of, renting and buying and I've always wanted to be on the road, living out of a teardrop or something like that. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I am embarking on this mission that we are calling Operation Rewild. Now, when I say that, Jess, what does that bring to mind?
It means when I first saw it, the first thing I thought of was rewire.
Yeah, you're like, wait a second, what does rewire mean? Rewild, W-I-L-D. A lot of people, like their mind goes immediately to the gist of what I'm talking about, rewild, okay? But some people, like you said, Jess, your mind just went to trying to figure out what the heck that word meant, and then you couldn't pay attention to anything else.
I think that rewild, when you said you have nothing to do in Vegas, I disagree. I think when you said you were leaving the first time when you left with Arnica, I was like, something had changed in my life. But so you're always, I think you're part of my Vegas people. So, but anyway, back to the word. Rewild. Well, knowing you like to be in the wild. So you're going to be reconnecting with nature and the basics. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think for people that would kind of get close to it, they would think something like that, right? But this mission is not about me. It's about the people, everyone else that needs to hear this message. And really what it is, it's like Rewild is very personal and individual. It's reconnecting with the way that we were meant to be. And I coined this phrase from Jess, so that you can be happier by nature. All right. Happier by nature means you're not chasing happiness. You're not trying to find happiness. You are naturally happier because of putting into practice the things that we all talk about on a regular basis. Right. So it doesn't mean going out in the wild and like hunting and foraging, although I guess for some people it could mean that. It means connecting with the principles that made us who we are as human beings before modernization, the things that made us healthy and happy before the craziness of the world that we're in right now. And so it's almost like a reconnection with the basics and simplicity. So I am going to be traveling the nation, doing talks, a lot of it's geared towards the things that we talk about anyway, but the perspective's slightly different. You know, it's got this kind of Operation Rewild mission or built around that. I'm going to be traveling the nation in my little camper and doing talks, and I've already got things lined up. My first location is going to be up in Reno. Vanessa has connected me with a local BLM fire department, so we're doing a really big sleep talk, and then I got a CrossFit gym up there. I've got a sports massage therapist, which, by the way, he's going to do a podcast with me when I'm up there, and he's got such great info to share with you guys. I can't wait. So I'll be starting up in Reno, and then I'll be circling over to California and probably hitting Big Sur and Pismo and circling down to Lake Havasu. But anyway, I'm going to be sharing this message that we all know is so important and beneficial, connecting with people in other cities. And I'm going to be visiting local ranchers and trying to connect people with local food sources, because another piece of this preparation thing is understanding the importance of not being so dependent on things like Amazon or, connecting with a local food source and water source, so that, again, if the shit hits the fan and supply chains are broken or something like that, like, you've got somewhere that you can go to get food. And so I'm going to make an attempt to connect local ranchers with local communities, as long as they're direct to consumer ranchers. And I'm also going to try to teach them how to accept Bitcoin and teach other people how to pay in Bitcoin, so that they're not trapped in the current monetary system and not trapped in using banks. I just appreciate y'all's support, being a part of the group, the community, anything that you've contributed to me financially, membership, supplements, anything else, emotional support. Like, it's all been so great. I'm so thankful for you. You help facilitate, what I got going on with this. And I'm super, super excited about it. I'm going to be living the dream out there in beautiful places and documenting the whole freaking thing. Because if I can make this work when I'm out in the freaking on the road, anybody can make it work anywhere. And I'm not saying that people need to be doing that necessarily, but I'm going to be talking about it from that perspective. And then maybe someday I'll come back and live in Vegas. Who the hell knows? Now, if you guys ever want to support me beyond what you're doing, which I would never ask for that, I'd prefer to support you guys. Like, I do have a website. It is operationrewild.com. We're also going to have tour dates here. So if you want to see where we're going and what we're doing, this will be updated in real time as we get more locations set up. We've also got some free information. Like, this is stuff you guys already have access to, but the rules for life will be a downloadable. So if you ever want to send your family and friends here, I do have a buy me a coffee page. So if you ever want to just throw me a freaking cup of coffee or something like that, because I'm on the road, you want to show your support, you could always do that. So